What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Ketchpalia sitting on the couch trying to make some money investing in fractional real estate online, as usual. Today, I just want to point out an issue that I've noticed with Lofty, and this isn't something that I'm just now noticing, but it's something that really hit me in the face today. I've been doing math on the tokens every time when I'm buying them, but let me show you what I'm talking about. Really trying to overcome fees on this platform is very difficult if you're using market orders and if you're buying tokens that don't have a big discount. And this is part of what pushed me to the discounted token strategy, which is what most of my videos are talking about. Oh, by the way, if you're new to the channel, my name's Joe Ketchpalia. I've been a real estate investor for about 20 years, but recently have been exploring how, investing in fractional real estate online on several sites, Lofty being one of them. Fractional real estate is where you can buy a small piece of a property, and then, and get this similar or the same benefits of buying the whole property, because you just have a bunch of co-owners. And so, one of the ones that I bought early on this platform on Lofty is this 1580 Andover in Florida. It's been a great investment for me so far. It's returned 17%. That's my rental yield. So, they say rental yield. It's really like the cash flow that I've received on this property. So that's been good. But my token price, you can see my average basis is 51.81. Um, as a reminder, Lofty does not include your fees in this basis. And then, market price today is 58.97. And so one of the things I saw this and I was like, oh, you know what? I've been seeing this climb, and I was like, oh, maybe I should sell and reinvest in some of the ones that are a deeper discount now. Um, I know this is not the way most people think about real estate. You're mostly thinking about it as a long-term investment. For a number of reasons, I think that's difficult on this platform. I think it is. There are a number of things that make it so that I think you'll do better doing these relatively short-term trades or flipping the tokens, basically. And I've talked a lot about that, but in this is part of the reason why. So let me show you this. Um, you know, at 58.97, and I did the math on it, and I've gone over my spreadsheet and just made it a little bit more generic, but I'm barely making a profit having gone from 51.81 to 58.97 because of fees. And so let me show you what I'm talking about. This is my little break-even analysis. And instead of using the numbers there, I'm actually just using, $50 because that's what every token starts off as. And so when you buy on Lofty and you use their market order function, and I'll show you what that is in case you're not familiar, that's when you just hit buy and you're just, you're just leaving it at market order, just taking it out of the liquidity pool, which is what they use to trade with. You're not matching up with someone else. The other option is just to put a limit order out there and then hope somebody else matches with it. Or, for example, there are these open buy orders. And so if I wanted to sell at 50, it would just go through right away, but it wouldn't make sense to sell at 50 when that market price is there. And so when you're using the market order, you're paying Lofty a 3.5% fee. You pay this market lending fee, which gets paid to the people in the liquidity pool. That's another 2%. And then in every purchase, you're doing this 3% operating reserve replenishment. And that's money that when you buy those tokens goes into the operating reserve, but when you sell, you don't get any piece of that back. And so that's basically just another fee. Although, everybody buying into the property doing that does benefit the property, but it's not, if you just look at your small investment, it's not moving the needle enough to be considered anything other than a fee, because especially if you're buying and selling in a short term period of time, that's just totally disappears. And so, if you buy a $50 token, you're really paying $54.25. And that's assuming you're using money in your Lofty wallet. If you buy it with a credit card, which is an option, you're paying an additional fee on top of that. Just keep that in mind. This, you might spend $50 and actually buy a $50 token and actually be spending even more. And so when you use that same market feature to sell, Lofty again charges a 3.5% fee. You pay another market lending fee. There's not any sort of operating reserve though. And so what I did here is figure out, well, what do I have to sell? What token price do I have to sell at to net what my total cost was? And you can see if I bought at $50, I need to be able to sell at 57.41 to break even. I mean, that's shocking, right? Like if you look at what's that difference there, uh, that's a 14. You have to make a 14.81% return just to break even, right? So that token has to go up that much in price just to break even. And so I was looking at, well, how many tokens have they all started at $50. How many have moved up that much to hit that break even analysis? And it's only 11, right? Out of the 145 tokens on this platform, there are 11 that if you bought them day one using a market order, now that's not really fair because most of the time when they're sold day one, people can buy them with limit orders. But just for this analysis, if you bought them with a market order, there's only 11 properties you'd actually have at least broken even on. And, some of those you've made a decent profit, but a lot of them, they're just above break even. And that means every other token, if you sell, you lose money when you're just looking at your buy and sell cost, ignoring any cash flow that you got in the meantime. But if you did a short term buy and sell, um, and that's not a lot different from investing in real estate in general, where you have closing costs, and it should be something that you're looking at more long term. Although 14.81% that's a big hurdle, right? And it's because you're paying the fees on the buy side and on the sell side. And so if you think about when you are um, buying and selling real estate, your closing costs on the buy side are usually pretty small, except for lender fees. And so as long as if you're buying all cash, your closing costs when you buy are very minimal. And then so when you sell, you pay your whatever your real estate commission is. A lot of places, like most of the deals I do are 6%. Um, and then some other closing costs, you might pay 9 or 10%, but you definitely don't need to, your price definitely doesn't have to increase 14.81% to break even. But it is, it is more than it does have to go up though. So that's not terribly shocking, but when we're actually just trading, one of the appeals to this platform is supposed to be that you have increased liquidity. Well, that implies that I might want to liquidate. And okay, well, I can, but it's tough to do it. For 90+% of the platform, I lose money if I liquidate. So it's not great, but that's the market order scenario. I also looked at limit orders, and so that's when again you're using you're trying to. I have a little problem with my touchpad. I keep grabbing stuff I'm not trying to, and so that's when you hit buy and you change it to a limit order. Change this to a limit order, and then you can pick whatever price that you want. But then you just have to hope that somebody else is doing a limit order on the other side and is going to match up with you. When you do that, Lofty's fees lower. It's a 3% fee. And this is one of the things I know they've announced a 3% fee. I've noticed the 3.5, but only when I'm doing market orders. So I'm assuming this is across the board. It might be that they're only doing it on some properties, but I always see this when I do a market order. I've noticed it most of the time, and it typically seems to be 3% when I'm doing the limit orders. When you do a limit order, there's no market lending fee, but you still have this operating reserve. So, like, if you buy a $50 token, you're spending $53. And then on the sell side, again, you still get the 3% fee to sell, but you don't have the market lending fee. But so in that scenario, if you buy a token at $50, you need to sell it at $54.64 to break even. Now, even with that, you need your token to have appreciated 9.28%. Just to break even. And so even though the limit order looks a lot better, it only adds one more. That it just jumped us up from 11 to 12 tokens that made that. This is the 13th one that's getting pretty close. Maybe these ones are pretty close, but still losing money just on a purchase and sale analysis, not considering the yield you made along the way. This was just to see this outright is pretty surprising, and it makes it so I guess it might create a little lock-in for people, right? But one of the things, whenever you're looking at your yields here, like when it says what my rental yield is, this is not it's calculating it on this cost basis, not on the pumped up basis when you include all of this, because this is all part of your basis. It should be in there, but they don't do that. And so, I'm not this one is a bad example because I'm in addition to getting this yield, we're getting they're paying down the mortgage a lot with the cash flow every month. So this one I feel like it's not the best example, but so my yield on this, right, it's actually lower because I didn't spend 51.81. If you look at this analysis, I probably spent closer to 55 or $56 on this, right? And so it's still a great yield. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain about um the profit that I'm making on this one, and especially because it's going up in value. But the fact that it's gone up so much, and I couldn't even sell it to break even, or I think when I did the math on this one, I was just barely breaking even. Um, that well, let's actually put it in, right? So let's put it in here. I think I have this set up so I can just use it like this. So let's see. Yeah, that's right. And then my token price today was what? 58.97. 58.97. And so that's assuming there's no slippage at all. My net sale here, yeah, I actually still lose money on this transaction. I think I was looking at I might have limit ordered some of these when I was looking at my cost, and so that I think what I actually did was buy over here 51.81. And so, yeah, this is what I was looking at. Because I actually, when I bought it, I did a limit order. Now I'm selling it at this market. Is that right, though? Because that looks like a funny basis. I think it was though. I think I had, or maybe I limit ordered half of them. I don't remember. But when I was looking at this one, it really shocked me. And then that's why I decided, well, let me do this analysis and look at, the generic case with the $50 because I think that applies to a lot more people than doing the math on just my one. That's why I don't have the nice spreadsheet set up for that. But yeah, when I looked at it, I felt like it looked like I was just going to make a tiny bit, but it's thrown me off a little bit that it looks like I would lose when I did this. Um, I'm wondering if I missed something when I did it at first, because since I set up this calculator, this little sheet, I did this. I've only been using the 50%. Before I was just using another little one. Um, I have to check and make sure that that's not wrong. But either way, or maybe this one is wrong. But I think if you're looking at this and this math doesn't seem to check out for you, I'm more than open to hearing about it. And so let me, just to recap what I'm doing here, I'm calculating a token price based on, adding all the fees of doing a market order. And then in this one, I'm backing into what my token price, what it has to sell for in order to hit this net sale number. And I've just used the goal seek for this. I don't have a formula set up. Using the goal seek what if analysis to make that happen. And then just looking at, okay, the difference in the buy and the sell, how much it has to go up. Like I said, I mean, to me that's a big hurdle to overcome, and it is why some people would look at this and say, well, that's a reason I just should not be investing on Lofty, right? Like, how am I even going to make money? Well, I think there's two things, right? One, if you're really just a long-term investor, picking the ones that I think you're just going to get long-term yield on, but keeping in mind the issue with the debt where your yield is going to decrease over time if your owner is paying down the debt directly, which is the case with a lot of the properties. If that doesn't make a lot of sense to you, watch my video. I think it's is debt Lofty's biggest problem. It is it explains how that math works. If But the other one is what most of my other Lofty videos are about buying these discounted tokens. Where, like, for example, this one, my cost basis now, I've got quite a few of them at $31 average cost basis. um, you know, right now it's losing if I were to sell the tokens, but this is one that I think there's a good chance we're going to sell it in real life and get a pretty good pop on it. The other thing too is if you look at, if you are trying to buy and sell, there are several that are moving. Let's see, you got a 14%. This is just a 1 month move, right? 14%, 14%. You have several of these that move just very, this one made a huge drop, 66.66. I actually don't think that's right. Um, let's look at that and see. So sometimes the math on this, I mean, that doesn't make any sense that it's 45. Oh, 15. Okay, yeah. So there was a $15 sale, but then now the cheapest one is 52.30. Okay, so that makes sense. So you really have to dig in sometimes. You can't take the numbers on face value. Because like this, it didn't go down 66.66% and then be 52, to arrive at this price. So, there are all these little issues, right, where you have to just dig in a little bit further. Like this one again, I don't think this move. Let's take a look at that. Well, did somebody? Looks like they did buy. Uh, so somebody bought some tokens at $24, and now the price is 50, but like they were at 25. It says the price is 50. That just means somebody's trying to sell one at 50, right? That doesn't really mean the value went up that high. And so that's the little nuance that you have to really get used to looking at. But there are definitely ones that do have these big moves. Um, again, I mean, I think that when you see um, Garden Gate, I think is a real right. Like there are some, people bought them at 32, and this is actual like I tell them you've got but you've got at least purchases at 50, 35 and sales at 39. So somewhere in between there is where that value is. So some of these that only have limit orders end up looking really weird. Basically, when I say only have limit orders, there's no market lending pool for those or liquidity pool. Yeah, but some of the, but so in any case, there are ones that are making real moves of, 10, 15, 20% sometimes in a month. And, but the goal shouldn't be necessarily buy them and sell them in a month and make this, be able to sell them, right? Like it should be, in general, I think these are longer term investments. Although this Raymond one, right? This is one that definitely big move from the bottom to the top. I've gotten into this one. I bought a lot in the 18s. I didn't get any of these at 15, but this is one again. I have a well. Let's plug those numbers in and see. Um, and that's what. Let's see. Let's look at it on my account page. Um, and I think I just heard my kid get here, so we'll do this real quick, and then I'm going to let you go. So let's see. Token price. I bought it for 1864. And that's the other thing too. Like you need a smaller dollar move if you're doing this, and 22.98 because it's all based on percentages. And so let's see. Um, oh yeah, it doesn't flow through to this. I should have that equal that up there. But so yeah, with my cost and my sale, let's see. Let's do that. Equal this number here. And I actually, uh, I needed, well, just ignore this bottom part. But if you look at just, okay, I'm going to net 21.72 if I sold. I bought on average of $20.22. So there is a real profit there on these tokens. Now, at the same time, I couldn't sell all 83 because of slippage. It would move the price down, because that sales push the market value down. But in any case, that's all I wanted to cover today. I just wanted to show you just how drastic the fees are, how tough they are to overcome with an investment. Until next time, I'm going to just keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.